These are good days. Everything is going good with everything, 'cause these are good days. It's going good with everything, it's going good with everything. And I know that because these are good days. Everything is going good with everything, 'cause these are good days. Good days. Good days.
Welcome to These Are Good Days with Leanne Miller.
And Matt Barris.
Well, Thanksgiving is over. And
gone.
I have brought you a little treat.
Oh, I've been looking at it for quite a while.
Yes.
And I'm ready.
Yeah, let's talk about it. Someone that is in my Instagram community, in the Joy Scout community, her name is Lena Mullet. Shout out Lena Mullet.
Lena.
She said, "Can you stop by my house? I have some things I want to give you." One thing she gave me was a pumpkin roll.
Oh,
I
love a pumpkin roll.
I brought part of that pumpkin roll here because Daryl and I will never eat an entire
praise
pumpkin
ye
roll.
the Lord. Hallelujah.
And then the other thing, which I really do believe all of us need to know about this. I've never heard of it in my life. I brought it. I cut it in half. I thought we could do a little taste test. You know, we'll have to be careful not to just chomp in the mic. But I have never heard of someone doing little miniature whoopie pies. So a whoopie pie
Neither.
is a pillowy chocolate cookie that is sandwiched between some lovely fluffy cream, some white cream. She takes these, she makes little whoopie pies. I would say it's about the little bit bigger than a silver dollar.
Mm-hmm.
She puts them in the freezer. Then frozen, she takes them out, obviously she takes them out frozen. But while they're frozen, she dips them in coating chocolate, like candy coating chocolate, like Christmas candy coating chocolate. And they're part of her Christmas candy, making.
Genius.
And so we're going to take a bite right now.
We're biting.
Oh, soft. Soft. Oh. This is so...
Podcasts aren't made for food. But this is very good.
Oh my gosh, it's so good. She said that her husband said the other day when he was eating one, "Why don't we do this all year long?" And she said, "Because it's just a Christmas tree."
Yeah, it's special. It's so special.
Oh my
It's so
goodness,
good.
it's so good.
It's really good. Could you pour me some water in one of these cups?
You want some of my water in your Disney cup?
Yes.
Oh, it's not looking very good.
Oh, we're parched. You just spilled ice everywhere. That's all right.
Everywhere.
All right, hey.
That's delicious.
I'm going to go on my good day first.
Drinking
Note
water.
to self. Food on podcasting is not
Note
a
to
great.
self, never bite into a chocolate-covered whoopie pie with your face next to a microphone. But boy, that was worth it.
It is good.
So
I'm going to
good.
eat mine when you talk. You can eat yours now.
Okay, thank you.
We had a great Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving has come and gone. It was a great day. We had extra time off school that was awesome. And our district has Wednesday and Monday off.
Oh, so you had Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Monday.
Yes. And you know why Monday is because in our area, hunting is I think we've talked about this before.
Hunting's a big thing.
Hunting's a big deal. And we have that day off so that people can get their hunt on, I suppose. So we had Thanksgiving at our house. Listen, we divide up the food.
Yeah.
We have great cooks in our family between our moms, Mallory's grandma. I just thought of this. You need the recipe of what Mallory's grandma brought
What'd
for
she bring?
Thanksgiving. She brought a sweet potato, radish, something. It's like a casserole, but she slices them really thin and layers them with Gruyere cheese and like breadcrumbs. It is so good. So we divided the list.
Radishes?
I think it's radishes. It's really, really good.
Not parsnips.
No, but I love a parsnip.
I love a good parsnip.
My mom made the turkey. My mom makes a good pumpkin pie. We made mashed potato stuffing and cranberry sauce. I have a great cranberry sauce that I love. And we all ate dinner together, and it was lovely. And then for the weekend, we had so much time off school. And listen,
How late did everybody stay at your house?
till about 4.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah. And here's the thing. Our family this is our off year with my sister and her kids on
Yes,
Thanksgiving.
because they do
So,
every other year, right?
Yeah. So we'll be with them at Christmas, but for Thanksgiving, sometimes it's like, wah, wah.
Yeah.
And so I thought months ago, I was like, we need something fun to do that weekend. So I got a cabin at a state park only 45 minutes away down in Mohican that had a hot tub and it had
How
enough
fun.
rooms for all of us. So my family, the 5 of us and my mom went down to the cabin for the weekend and it was so fun. We took board games.
Oh, yeah.
I took a book that I read, The Plan by Kendra Adachi.
Who is going to be on our podcast next week.
She is a guest.
She's going to be a guest.
Kendra Adachi is known as the Lazy Genius.
Lazy Genius. Mm-hmm.
And she has a new book out called The Plan. And if you haven't heard of the Lazy Genius, you do want to check her out because she's
So
amazing.
you read the book.
So I read the book, The Plan, in preparation for our
Did you get in
discussion.
the hot tub?
I did. I love a hot tub,
Okay.
but here's what I'm noticing.
All right.
I don't love a hot tub when it elevates my heart rate.
Okay.
There's a limit. I feel like I'm basting and baking.
How do you know? How do you know when you're?
I just get tired and I'm
Okay.
like, I need to get out.
Okay.
But we let the kids in and they have a limit of like 10 minutes. So I would set a
Yes.
timer. The kids would get in for 10 minutes, then they get
Is
out.
that
and they
because of
run
them
inside.
just getting overheated? Or?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because they're so little.
Yeah.
Their bodies are just smaller
Yeah.
than ours. And so they would get out in their thing and it was like 18 degrees.
Did
And they
you
would
have
run
your-
into the cabin and we played board games and then they would get like warmed up and then they would run back outside. I think one day we counted they went like 6 or 7 times
Oh,
back
that's
and
adorable.
forth all day.
Did
that's
you
what we
take
did.
any of the any of the matching PJs?
How dare you? How dare you bring up the tight PJs? I did not take matching PJs.
Okay, do you wear the matching PJs any other time besides Christmas? No.
Usually,
Now, I
I'm going
know-
to be real with you.
Yeah, I know probably the kids do, but do you?
Yeah, that's a great question. I know everyone's dying to know the answer to it. I typically wear the bottoms because they're a little
Okay,
looser,
okay.
but for some reason, pajama
Those
tops
tops.
just feel a little squeezy for me.
Okay.
And I'm going to be very honest.
Okay.
I have a puffy chest.
Oh, okay.
So I don't like things accentuating my
This
puffy chest.
This is
That's what's happening.
this feels like an explanation.
So, yes, I took the pajama bottoms. No, I did not bring the pajama tops because
Okay,
they're just
all
a
right.
little snug.
Okay. I get it. You know, you could like Luca could wear the pajama tops as something like oversized,
Yes,
you know,
true.
or Mal.
True,
You know, you
true. Here's my last comment about our weekend.
Okay.
Here's one of my hacks. If
Okay.
you're going away, the Lazy Genius would be so proud of me saying this. What I did before we left is I planned out all of our meals and I made them ahead. I made a lasagna.
Oh, that's so
I
good.
got stuff for pizzas, which we didn't make.
Yeah,
that
I talked
ahead.
to you one day on the phone. You were like, "I've been in the kitchen all day," and I'm like, "What are you doing?"
Yeah, I made a lasagna. It was in the fridge. I made, what else did I make? The salad stuff. I made the dressing for it before we left. So I did as much as I could before
Yeah,
we
that's
left.
good.
And then when we were there, we weren't cooking the whole
Yeah,
time.
that's
We were
good.
just literally, it was like, am I reading a book? Am I playing a game with the kids? Am I eating? Am I in a hot tub? Those are my 4 choices. Oh, and
Yeah.
napping.
Yeah.
Like we had like 5 choices and that's what we did. And it
That's
was
awesome.
the perfect Thanksgiving weekend
That's
for us. What about you?
awesome. Well, my good day, you know, of course, Thanksgiving was lovely. We always do it with Daryl's side of the family. We call it Amish Thanksgiving. And the food was amazing. And usually you're assigned 1, maybe 2 things. So we went to Amish Thanksgiving and
What'd
then
you take?
I took cranberry salad. I was assigned cranberry salad
Okay.
for the
Did you
first
make the
time
fluffy
ever.
kind?
No, I made a kind that had 2 boxes of cranberry jello in it, and then you roughly chopped the 2 bags of, well, there's like 55 or 60 people, so I doubled the recipe.
Yeah.
So there's chopped pecans, chopped cranberries, 2 apples, 1 Granny Smith and 1 Honeycrisp, and then celery, and then you pour some cranberry jello in it and then stir it up, put it in 13 by 9. And then what I did was took a little bit of Cool Whip and put it in some real whipped topping and then topped it with that and then put some pomegranate seeds on the top
Yum.
and some nuts, some, the beautiful pecan halves, some of those on the top. And yeah,
I'm here for that. Are
and
you
it
happy
was-
with it?
Oh my gosh, it was delicious.
Good.
I know something that I've hit a home run if I see one of our boys, Daryl, Teddy, or Joey, go back for seconds
Yeah,
for something.
yeah.
So I knew that I had a winner. I've never been assigned that before though. So I felt like somehow I was being punished, because I'm like cranberry salad.
Okay.
But but it turned out beautiful.
made it great.
Yeah, it turned out great.
That's awesome.
And then we usually, and I was right about this. I did talk about this one podcast that usually our Amish family is fasting up until that meal.
Right.
So we don't ever do Thanksgiving like at 4 or 5 o'clock p.m. We always do it like 11:30 noon because they're all ready to break their fast.
Is it a spiritual thing?
Yeah. Mhm.
Okay.
So they're ready to break their fast, and so we were there.
I
at
love that
11.
actually.
Yeah, we were there at 11:30.
Is it like a sundown to lunch kind of thing?
Yeah. Yep.
And is the intention to be thinking about what you're thankful for?
That I'm not sure about. I can confirm, but
Okay.
it's definitely spiritual in nature. So we have lunch and then we sit around and play game. Literally, the kids are so cute to watch how they play with each other. But then we play games.
Yeah.
Like the guys play euchre or rook, and the women play dominoes or skippo.
Do you guys play Dutch Blitz?
We didn't this year.
But
I didn't
do
see
Amish
any-
people play
Yeah,
Dutch
mhm,
Blitz?
yep,
Because
yep,
we
yep.
play that this
Yep.
weekend.
You
It's a
did
good
you?
one.
Did the kids love it?
Mm-mm.
No,
It's too fast.
Too fast.
they're
They
not
will
ready
love
for
it
it.
when they get older.
Yeah.
So that was fun. But one of the highlights of the week, we were with Teddy and MG getting married. We all love Holmes County Pottery.
Mm-hmm.
Shout Holmes County Pottery if you are listening.
I would
Carrie-
love if Carrie listened to us.
Yeah, he is just Carrie and Stephanie at Holmes County Pottery. They are some of the sweetest, most sincere, precious people. And Teddy and Joey grew up with that pottery. They
Right.
grew up eating out of those bowls and off those plates. And
Right.
so Teddy and MG, we contacted them ahead of time and went and met with them because that's what they want for their wedding
Oh, that's awesome.
registry. So they're going to make something, special for them.
Mm-hmm.
And we went and met with them, and it was just a lovely little excursion.
Yeah.
And it was sweet to see Teddy just say to Carrie, like, your stuff has sentimental value to me, and I just want
That's
it in my
sweet.
home because I grew up with it, and it was just sweet.
That's really
Yeah,
awesome.
we just had a great visit. It was a wonderful time, and Teddy and MG were here from Sunday to Friday, which was a nice little stretch of time.
Love it.
And then Joey came home on Tuesday and stayed from Tuesday to Saturday, and it was just really nice.
That's awesome. Hey, we have a segment we're bringing back.
Yes.
Read me our title.
Yes,
We said
I-
it was a working title last time, but I think
We
it's going to
like
be
it.
the title.
Yeah.
I think we're going to keep
This
it.
is called Something Random I Need to Share That Might Not Make a Difference to You at All.
Do we need to leave room for music?
Sure. Something random I need to share that might not make a difference to you at all. Go.
Something random that I need to share that might not make a difference to you at all is my family loves America's Test Kitchen.
Oh, yes.
America's Test Kitchen, if you're unfamiliar with it,
Yes.
it's like a scientific way to make
Yes,
food.
America's Test Kitchen, if you are listening.
Now listen, America's Test Kitchen is great because they'll send out recipes to home cooks all across the nation and get their opinions. They'll also test like the 10 best mixers. Which one should you buy? Which is the
I
best
love
thing
it.
for your buck?
Best butter.
All that
butter-
kind of stuff.
Just fat content and butter. They
Yes.
do everything. It's science.
So we love America's Test Kitchen. And
Mm-hmm.
there's some things like my mom swears by their pie crust. Like their coconut cream pie is amazing. Like there's certain things that my mom has tested from America's Test
Oh,
Kitchen.
well, your mom makes the buttercream frosting from
Oh,
theirs. It's the
perfect.
best.
But here's the thing.
Okay.
Here's the part that you might not care about, but I do, and I think
Okay.
it's interesting.
Okay.
The man that started America's Test Kitchen is awesome. His name's Christopher Kimball. He
Yes.
started it. He's like kind of like Mr. Rogers for food,
Yes,
but he's like a scientist.
He's Milk Street now, right? Okay.
That's what I'm going to tell you.
Oh, okay.
Mr. Christopher Kimball, we don't know what happened. No, we don't know. There's
we
no
don't know.
tabloids for America's
We don't
Test
know.
Kitchen. But Mr. Christopher Kimball, who I've known and loved for many, many years, left America's Test Kitchen and started something called Milk Street, which I also love.
Yeah, I
so
love.
this is Christopher Kimball's
Yes.
baby is called Milk Street. And Milk Street is releasing recipes. They're releasing products.
So good.
I asked actually for Christmas, I asked for one of their pans. It's like an all-purpose
I
pan.
saw that pan.
I asked for that for Christmas. And, you know, you might not care about Christopher Kimball leaving America's Test Kitchen for Milk Street, but I wanted to know.
yeah.
I want to know what's going
okay.
on. And I don't know the
Oh,
story.
you didn't
So if anyone out
Oh.
there knows the story of Christopher Kimball leaving America's Test
Please
Kitchen
let us know.
to start Milk Street, I would love to know.
I mean, if it's salacious, we don't want to know. But if it's
Right.
like, you know, we just like to know some
We parted
deets.
ways.
We need to,
Like
we
what-
need some deets.
But, you know, you might not care about Christopher Kimball, but I do.
Okay. Mine, something random I need to share that might not make a difference to you at all, is that I have a cat. And my
Oh,
cat and my
I
cat,
love your cat.
And my cat's name is Mr. Butters. Mr. Butters, people are always so interested in what kind of cat Mr. Butters is. Mr. Butters is a Silkirk Rex cat.
Okay.
Now, a Silkirk Rex cat, this is random, but this is a fact. A Silkirk Rex cat is a curly-haired cat, and they are typically cats that they claim you are not as allergic to as like a regular haired cat.
Yeah, like just a
Now,
domestic.
personally, I think a full-blooded Silkirk Rex cat kind of looks like a wet, like it just kind of looks
It's like
a
Jerry curls.
Yeah, it's just like a wet, I don't know, like a wet, soggy cat. I just don't think they're that cute.
Yeah.
Mr. Butters, for whatever reason, he is Silkirk Rex, but his coat did not come out curly. So I have a purebred Silkirk Rex cat with papers whose hair is not curly. And that could have been why, you know, he didn't sell when he was
That's what I was going to
kitten.
ask. So does it make him more, like, in the eyes of a cat beholder, does it make him more valuable or like less?
Well, I think
Or like people that are purists were like,
yeah.
that's not the cat for
yeah.
me.
I think people that are looking for a Silkirk Rex cat they want a curly haired cat, and people that are not looking for a curly haired cat are not looking for like, because I think probably the fear could be that his coat's going to turn out strange or weird later.
Right.
Now, I will say it is a challenge. He has
Listen.
so much hair.
You vacuum
And
so
I
much.
do, and he goes to the groomer. He's on a rotation every 3 months. At the
We know about the groomer. We know all about your adventures at the groomer.
But he really has an amazing mane. But
He's beautiful.
It's a lot. It's a lot to do. But
I
he's
actually didn't know that about your cat.
Silkirk Rex.
His breed, that it's not the typical breed coat for that
He's
breed.
yeah. Nope.
Hey, well, we wanted to talk today all about difficult conversations because we're coming off of a lot of family time.
Yeah, I had a difficult conversation, and that's where this was born.
Yeah, absolutely. So why don't you set us up with the story about where this came from and that kind of thing, or however much you want to share.
Okay, I'm not going to get in the weeds too much about the details, except for to say I shared a little bit of this already on my Instagram stories, but this has been a lifelong struggle for me, like a lifelong, I would say, battle of time. Like, I think I have more time than I've got.
Well, and we do joke about it.
Yeah,
we joke about Miller time.
Oh yeah,
being
Miller
on
time.
Miller time.
And I want to, like, if I'm getting ready and I know I need the appointments at 10, but somebody calls me at 9 and they're just wanting to visit and they're wanting to talk and they're wanting to ask me a bunch of questions, I'm going to accommodate, and then that's going to make me late.
Yeah.
So it's been an ongoing, I mean, we've been married for 33 years. It has been something that probably, and this is not being silly, I'm not joking, but if there's anything that Daryl and I are going to butt heads or argue about, it's going to be my time, tardiness. He is very prompt. He's very on time, and he is very, like I remember one time his alarm didn't go off, And the person he was supposed to pick up called me worried because it's so unlike him
Totally.
not to show up like 10 minutes early.
Totally.
So his 10 minutes early is on time. I mean, when I first married him, I was like, why in the world would you be 10 minutes early? He's like, why in the world would you be right on the dot? Like,
Right.
So I have improved over the years. It has gotten
You have.
better, and I am still trying, but I still struggle.
Yeah.
And so over the break, and it's funny because when I shared this on my Instagram stories, somebody came into my DMs and said, I feel like this is a little over the top. I think if your sons are making a big deal, if this is the biggest thing that they have, this biggest gripe they have with you and the biggest thing that's wrong, then they're very fortunate. And kind of downplayed. I mean, she wasn't being snooty, but she was downplaying them being upset.
Right.
Which I said to her, well, this has been an ongoing thing for a lot of years.
Right.
And I also wasn't comparing it to something. Like, I'm not comparing this to if someone's abusive or mean
Correct.
or a narcissist. This is just a blind spot I have that has been a bone of contention with
Absolutely.
my family.
And whatever your family's experience is, that's your hard is your hard. And that's okay.
Right.
know?
Yeah. I mean, we have permission for our hard to be our hard, even if it's about being late. So it was Joey's birthday, and lots of things were happening. And something about me, if there's like laughing and a party going on downstairs while I'm getting ready, I want to be part of it. I want to be in it. And so I was running we were going to be 15 minutes late to Columbus. We didn't have an appointment, anything like that, but we were going to be 15 minutes late. And it was upsetting to Teddy and to Joey.
Yeah.
And so I rode with Teddy alone to Columbus, and he said, Mom, we need to have a hard conversation. We need to have a awkward conversation about what just happened. And so we just kind of unpacked it and we talked about it, and it was hard and clunky and awkward, and I cried, and he was so patient. And I want to say several different things about this. Is, there's something to be said about how you receive when somebody comes to you with something about you that you don't want to hear and that you don't like to know about yourself. There is also a part of that that's important, and that is how it's being communicated to you. Mm. And so because Teddy kept reassuring me, he kept saying, Mom, I know you love us. I know that we are important to you. And I know that it's not your heart to make us feel like our time doesn't matter. And,
right.
But you need to know how this can make other people feel. And something he said that I do, and I know that I do it. And he was quick to follow it up and say, Mom, I think often this is a strength of yours, but it can also come off as you just want to apologize for something and then just keep right on trucking. Mm. It's like, sorry, I'm late, guys. And then,
but it's a party.
Yeah. And then you just kind of keep on going, and it kind of makes the person who's upset feel like their feelings feel diminished. Mm-hmm. Like you're not pausing and saying like, hey, I know that time is important to you. I know that you want to be on time, and this, I shouldn't have ran late, and I'm really, really sorry.
Right.
So, I just want to say I'm sorry and then get back to the party.
Yeah.
And so, we just really had a good conversation. It was hard, and we bouncing back from it too. It's hard. It's hard to have that kind of conversation and be like, and now we're gonna have a fun day.
Right. That is hard. So tell me this. I have found in hard conversations, it is helpful for me to say and to hear on both ends if somebody says, hey, we need to have a hard conversation. That is, do you find that to be helpful when someone prefaces that? Because it's kind of like, oh, this is serious.
I don't think he said we need to have a hard, maybe he did say hard conversation. It's just like we need to have, we just need to have a conversation about what just happened.
Yeah.
And I think if you say we need to have a hard conversation, I think some people could quickly feel bound up by that, or triggered, or like quickly defensive. And and here's the thing about being a parent to adults. Like when you're, I'm 56. I'm 56, and I think once you're over 50 and your kids come to you and they're saying, well, when you raised me, this and this and this, and this is how you've made me feel, and all those things, it is the quick knee jerk response. Like the what you want to do immediately is defend yourself.
No doubt.
And justify, and also justify. And I really tried very hard not to do that, because he was trying so hard to tell me about how it might make other people feel, like being late, how
Right.
it could make other people feel, that I didn't want to be like, well, it happened because of this and this and this. And I think because what that does is it isolates it to one incident or one time. And really it's not just one time. This
Right.
is something that I struggle with, other times besides
Right.
just one specific time. And, and I think how you approach it with your parent is very important. If you're an adult kid, maybe you're 35 and your parent is 65 and you want to have a hard conversation, I would say one of the first things is, timing. He
Totally.
didn't do it right when we were standing in the house
Or in front of
or
a
in
group
front
of
of
people.
a bunch of people. He waited like a good half hour and then said, hey, I want to talk to you about what just happened. And I think if you create, Maureen, my counselor, told me this years ago, and I think it's great advice. You create the moment.
Yes.
You
Absolutely.
set the stage and create the moment. Not when people are upset and hyped and defensive and you've just had an argument. You create the moment when it's calm and a Tuesday and
Right.
you're sitting with your coffee and you're like, I think I want to have this conversation now.
Right.
And you say like, hey, I'd like to talk to you. And do you have 20 minutes or do you have a half an hour or whatever? And you carve out the time,
Right.
to talk about it. And and it's not easy. It really isn't easy, whether it's thought out or whether it happens just right after an argument. It's not an easy thing, but I do think that you become, when you allow yourself to be vulnerable and even humble and say, I was wrong and that's not how I ever want to make somebody feel, and you're humble, and the person that's also talking to you is not being mean, not
Right.
coming at you, you feel closer afterwards. Like
Totally.
I think it really makes you closer to the person. It makes you your friendship and your relationship deeper.
Do you think in these conversations that there's a unique dynamic with a parent-child having these conversations? Because I see on Instagram, I see on social media, generations of kids, Teddy's age, even maybe my age, with our parents having conversations that might be received as, you didn't do this when I was a kid and that hurt me, or you did do this and that hurt me, vice versa. Do you think that that's a unique dynamic versus friendship and marriage? Do you think the parent-child relationship is unique, where the child's coming to you with the problem, like as an adult child coming to their parent? Do you think that's unique?
No,
not necessarily.
not necessarily.
Because
I think it's universal, and I think you can have it in marriage. You can be
Totally.
married for 25 years and be like, remember what you did when we were first married, and keep bringing up. I think I've had so many people come in my DMs to tell me to share certain things with me, and somebody came in my DMs and said that the difficult has been with the spouse, and there were things that have happened over the years that were triggered by other outside circumstances that and I said, have you been able to speak to somebody professionally about this?
Yeah.
And they said, oh, we've been in therapy for 3 years.
Yeah.
And I think if you keep revisiting the same thing, like if Teddy has to have this conversation with me 3 more times,
Right.
then obviously I need to go outside to someone, to talk to someone, to get some tools in my tool belt so that I know how to change a behavior better.
Right.
Because he doesn't want to keep having the conversation. I don't want to keep hearing the conversation, but I don't want to keep repeating a cycle of
well,
the
at the
same
end of
behavior.
the day, the difference is you are not defensive and you want your relationship with your child to flourish.
Right, to be better. Right.
And so I've seen sometimes is that's when you put up a boundary, is when things don't change or it's not received.
Right.
You know, we both can think of things that we wouldn't talk about details here, but in relationships that we've had where we brought something to someone and we're like, hey, this made me feel this way, or I didn't like it when this happened.
Right.
And nothing changes, or it's not received well, and it's like, well, I guess we need to put up a boundary or at times end a relationship.
Right.
And so I think there's a responsibility on both ends that you are a good truth teller and you're a good truth receiver. You know, on both ends, you have to be good at both of it for it to work.
And there has to be a level of kindness there.
Absolutely.
You know, and care. I think if it's like inflammatory and, you know, people's emotions are high and you know, you're saying kind of extreme absolutes like every time and I never and you always like the
such
just
a pet
doesn't,
peeve of mine.
Yeah, it doesn't it's not helpful.
Right.
And I also think that difficult conversations are difficult.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, and you don't want, nobody wants to have them.
Right.
I mean,
right.
I'm an Enneagram 7.
Yeah, girl, you want a party.
I don't want to have a difficult conversation at all.
Right.
But I know that also it's important to know how other people may be feeling.
Right. And you, at the end of the day, you love people.
I
So
do.
What supersedes any personality test or Enneagram is if you have a value system that says, I value people, I love people, especially people that I'm really close to, regardless of your temperament, your, you know, ENFJ, Myers-Briggs, all that stuff, regardless of any of those things. If it rubs up against your value system where you say, I value and love people and I cherish people in my life, then I want to hear them first and then decide. You get to make the choice how you respond.
Well, and I think if you don't have these conversations, you can really get to a place where you have lots of blind spots where people aren't telling you like, hey, that made me feel this way. And you really like literally like he was saying some things like, you know, when you are late, what it conveys or what it can make me feel. And he was telling me things and I was like, what? Really? Like it was like shocking, like surprised me. And he's like looking at me like, why is this so surprising? And it's because it's just not because of the way my brain works and my personality works. It's not on my radar at all.
Right.
I'm like, we're going to Columbus and having a birthday day. This is so fun.
Right.
We're going to be a few minutes late, but we're going to get there. And it's like, no, like that's not how some other people may be feeling. And that came as a shock to me. And I'm like, so I think part of when you bring a difficult conversation to someone, it's kind of like this. If you know somebody elderly and it's like people say about them, oh, they're just so set in their ways. It's because they either people have brought things to them and they're just like, well, that's just the way I am. Or nobody's really brought anything to them. So they just continue being the way they are and they just get set in their ways.
Right.
And I think it's the whole, and I've heard this verse sometimes taken out of context, but I do think it is iron sharpening iron.
Totally.
It is saying like, hey, like I want to mention this to you and do what you will with it. But I feel like you need to know.
It is such a hard thing, though.
Oh,
it's so hard. I'm
so
almost 40 years old, 39 3/4, and you're 65. Oh gosh, 56. Sorry.
You got the numbers.
You're 56, and it's still not comfortable or easy, even though we can talk about it like this. But in real life, it can be so hard. I mean, it makes my stomach hurt thinking about it.
Yeah. And I do think that sometimes you can correlate how much you care about the person with how much it can upset you.
100%.
Like if you're like, I really care about this person, they're really a dear friend, they're really a dear person, it's my spouse, it's my parent, and they mean so much to me, it just feels so upsetting because the ultimate fear, the fear behind this, or the worry is this is going to make things worse.
Right.
Or like the extreme, like this is going to make them sever, the relationship
Absolutely.
with me, or they're going to think ill of me, or whatever bad thing, that's what's going to happen.
Totally.
When really that is the big bad wolf. That usually it never does happen.
Right,
Usually
right.
the conversation, it's kind of feels cleansing. I think it kind of feels like good to say what you've been. Well, I mean, you and I had a difficult conversation right before this podcast.
Yeah.
But I have to say, I think probably you feel better by telling me how you felt.
Well, and we both said we're the type of people that if there's something in the way, it's really hard to just power through it and keep going.
Yes. And I do think that that's part of friendship.
Right.
I mean, part of friendship is saying like, hey, this happened. I want you to know how it made me feel. I love and care about you. And that's why I'm bringing it up.
Right,
I mean, all of those things. And I do think that there's a way that you go about it.
Totally.
I feel like if Teddy would have came to me pointing his finger at me, it would not have went well.
Well, and I think it's okay because I noticed myself doing this. And, I literally 40 minutes ago, we were having this conversation when I have these conversations, I say things like, I'm probably not saying this right. Mm-hmm. And I know this isn't fair, but this is how I received what you said.
Right.
Or, it's okay to say those things because I think that shows first it shows vulnerability, but second, it's not a coming at you conversation.
No.
When I say things, in our conversation that we just had, when I was like, this is what you said and it triggered me, and I know it shouldn't trigger me like this, but it still made me feel like this.
Yes.
Like you're both owning your part. Like I know that whatever the thing that we were talking about, there was something that you've texted me before that I'm like, when I read this text, it makes like me a little bit like I was like, okay. But I know that's not your heart.
Right.
And I know that I shouldn't have a knee-jerk reaction, but I still don't want it to keep happening.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And
yes.
so I think it's okay to have those conversations.
And the funny part about these kind of things is you telling me I'm so glad, because then I'm not going to keep doing it.
Right.
I mean, I'm not a jerk. Like, like if I keep doing it, then it's a problem.
Right.
But if I know that it's like, hey, don't text that line,
right?
Because it feels like you're inferring something that's not there,
right.
But it feels like it. Then
right.
I know not to do it.
Right.
I mean, I would think as friends, we want to know that about each other.
Totally. But I think it's hard because for me, I'm like, I just cherish our friendship. And I think part of it is I feel like I'm initiating conflict in something that's good, but that's not accurate.
No.
I think it's truly trying to make things better.
Mm-hmm.
But my brain and the feeling that comes over my physical body initiating these types of discussion, it feels negative and it feels like a conflict.
Do you think that comes from your background? Do you think that 100%. Comes from family of origin? Or
yeah. And I'll I could get into this some other time. We are literally running out of time. But, in particular, my dad and I struggled with communicating. We struggled with conflict. And I think I still carry some of that I've truthfully worked through with my therapist and my wife in particular. And so I think all those things come back, no matter how long you've been in therapy or how far you feel like you've come in your journey. There are just some things that you still, before I initiate conflict, I have to tell myself, like, they don't think I'm a horrible person. This is what I have to.
Right.
I mean, literally, this is what it is with Mallory. If Mallory comes to me and says, hey, when you did this, it made me feel like this, blah, blah, blah. My brain at first goes, I'm a horrible husband. Why did I even have children? I'm probably going to mess these kids up. And really what she's saying is, whatever this thing was, let's work on it.
Yeah.
That's really what she's saying.
Let's make it better.
I still have to fight, even though I know it's not accurate. I still have to fight in my brain not to go to those dark places.
Yes. And I think if you are brave enough to bring up the awkward conversation, the hard conversation, what you're doing is creating this huge detour to a big blow up. into a
Yes.
conversation that is not just that it's not productive, but it could be more explosive.
Right.
Like it could
right.
be like, that's it, and or if I kept texting that to you, one day I'm going to get back a text from you that's like, and I'm going to be on the other end going, what in the
just
world?
happened?
What just happened?
Yeah.
And it's because I keep doing it and you keep feeling that way and you don't communicate that you're feeling that way.
You know, I remember one of our dear friends, Dave D'Angelo. We used to work together at a church, and he had a phrase. I don't know if he started it, but it's where I heard it first. Is there should never be a straw that broke the camel's back, because there shouldn't have ever been that many straws in the first place.
Yeah.
And so I think that, I guess that would be a great parting shot is, if there are little straws building up in a relationship that you have
a conversation.
Have the conversation. It might be time to just say, let's hash it out. And it's going to feel clunky and it's going to feel awkward.
Yes.
It's much better to go in with humility and saying, this feels hard.
And create the time. Create the moment to do it. Like, create the space. Say on, again, like on a random Tuesday, hey, do you have a minute to talk for, 20 minutes or so? I have something I want to share with you. Yeah. Because it's so much better than reacting right after an incident.
Right. Absolutely.
That's hard. That's hard to get to a place of just true care and like to feel good, to walk away feeling good about it. After Teddy and I's conversation, he was patting me on my arm. He's like, no, we're okay, right? Are you okay, Mom? Like, I don't want this, I want to have this conversation, but I don't want it to dampen or ruin our day. And I'm like, I'm good. I just need a few minutes to think about it, but I'm good.
Yeah. So, Lord knows I need bounce back time too.
Yeah.
Hey, you had a lot going on at your house with your kids, but you also have a lot going out in the back of your house.
That back deck.
That back deck, though. That big old deck,
I was telling you that this back deck is going to change our life in this way. We are going to be able to entertain in different ways now because our house is small. And so this is going to just give us more space to stretch out, especially in the summer.
Right.
Listen,
you've been making those Mount Hope Fence boys frothy coffees. They're going to be sad to go to their next job.
Those Mount Hope Fence guys are getting frothy coffee every day.
Yeah. And you also shared that the guys at Mount Hope Fence have been really intentional about like little details that are just so special. Can you tell me a little bit more about those?
What, just with the deck?
Yeah, with the details of like the lights and the...
Oh, there's going to be on each post, on each of my deck posts, which I didn't even know this existed. If you are looking to redo your deck floor, redo your railings, maybe build a deck, go into the actual showroom of Mount Hope Fence. I had no idea that your posts on your deck now can have this ambient light around. So the top cap that goes on the post, there's part of that cap all the way around that is lit.
Like a little LED strip.
It's like a
Is
light.
it solar
and it's on
or
a
is
switch.
it powered?
No, it's on a switch.
Oh.
And then they have these little tiny, probably the size of a quarter, that lay on that get drilled into the deck boards, like into the floor. These little lights that go
That's
along.
cool.
And so, that's going to be really fun.
I can't wait.
It's you know how I feel about ambient lighting.
Yeah.
I love warm lighting. I love ambient light. And so I'm really excited to have that kind of lighting on the deck. But I can't say enough. In fact, today I put in my stories, like, I won't ever stop bragging about them.
Yeah.
Like we have had such a great experience with them, and they are just so fast. Oh
yes, it's been fast.
It has been so fast. Local craftsmen in our area, unbelievable.
100%.
And they're there at 7 a.m. Well, they're there when day is breaking, and they go.
Yeah,
they move.
That's
it's
awesome.
been a wonderful experience, and we're just so happy to have them as one of our sponsors.
Yes, and one more. Well, while we're talking about this, can you remind me of the different things that they do? Because their name is Mount Hope Fence, but they do decks.
They do
fences.
outdoor structures like pavilions.
Yeah.
They do hardscapes. So they do fire pits.
Like rock work.
Oh yeah, fire pits and like beautiful fire pits, like with all the paver brick around them, and They do
awesome.
railings. So they do any kind of railings and fencing. So if you have a picket fence or your deck railing needs done, and they do deck floors. So, and they have great products there.
Yeah.
Like they have a great line of products there. So they do deck flooring. Deck flooring is a big thing there. And it's also a big deal to have a nice deck floor that isn't gonna have splinters. And
Is your deck floor composite? That's awesome.
It's so nice.
That's so
yeah,
awesome.
it's so nice.
Well, I can't wait. I can't wait to sit
You're gonna
on
have
it.
yourself a frothy coffee out on that back porch,
I know. Hey,
back deck.
let's talk about food. It's that time. Listen, hosting is coming, and we love our friends at Walnut Creek Foods.
Yes.
And at Walnut Creek Cheese and Market
yes.
here locally in Walnut Creek, Ohio, right on State Route 39.
Yes, they've been
we love them.
so busy with they've been so busy with the holidays.
So busy.
So busy. Let me just tell you what I got there recently that I was just like so impressed with myself. Something about having they don't carry King Hawaiian rolls there. So I got 2 packs of King Hawaiian rolls somewhere else. But then I went to Walnut Creek Cheese and Market and got the double smoked off the bone ham with baby Swiss cheese and made little, just the little Sammies.
Yeah,
like the day after Thanksgiving, we just had these little ham and cheese on King Hawaiian roll Sammies. They were so good. The deli meat and the fresh meat counter at Walnut Creek Cheese and Market, I just don't. It's just you can't. You just can't beat it.
One thing I love about it is they have like a measuring guide for how
Yeah,
thick
yeah,
you want it
I
that you
know.
can pick it up and hold the thickness
literally.
of. It's like a little
Yeah.
piece of wooden cheese.
Yeah.
And you can decide how thick you want your meat. You can place your order and then you can come back. So
if you say you want it thin medium, they will slice it thin. They will slice a piece and show it to you, and you can sample
and
it.
you can eat it.
And you can say, "Oh no, I want it thinner."
Yeah.
Or oh no, I want it thicker.
And try
They
stuff.
just and everybody at that company is just fabulous.
Yes.
From Walnut Creek Foods. They're proper, where they do all the where they do the manufacturing and their administrative buildings and stuff. They're wonderful. But Walnut Creek Cheese and Market, their people are just so great.
Yeah.
We love so many of them.
Yes, absolutely. We love our partnership with Walnut Creek Foods.
Yes.
Hey, we mentioned this at the beginning of the podcast, but if you're still with us, be ready for next week because we have a special guest, Kendra Adachi. You might know her as the Lazy Genius.
Yes, she's written 3 books, Matt.
3 books, and her whole premise is helping you be lazy in the stuff that doesn't matter and genius in the stuff that does.
Yeah.
And I am telling you, I read her book and I just kept thinking she gives people permission to do life the way that works for them the best. And that is just so congruent with us.
She's wonderful. And she has a podcast called The Lazy Genius.
Yep.
And it's so good.
So good.
I listen to, if you're going to listen to her podcast, I really recommend listening to the 13 Principles of the Lazy Genius Way. I'm not sure what number it is, but it's, I don't know, maybe 6 or 7 weeks ago, but it's the 13 Principles of the Lazy Genius Way. And it basically, she walks you and talks you through what her approach is. And it's just so good.
Yes, it's so good. Her principles have changed our family in a lot of ways, and I'm sure you'll hear more as we talk to her next week. But we are so excited to have her.
So excited.
She is like good friends with Michael and Smith, the Nestor.
Yes.
And also Emily P. Freeman, who is someone we would love to have on.
Emily P. Freeman, if you are listening,
we'd love to have you. So don't miss our episode next week with the Lazy Genius, Kendra Adachi.
Yes.
She's incredible.
Incredible.
And I can't wait to share that with you. So, hey, thanks for joining us in this conversation all about Thanksgiving reflections and hard conversations.
Yes.
Whether ordinary or extraordinary, we hope you see that these are good days.
This episode brought to you by Walnut Creek Foods and Mount Hope Fence.